Welcome to the number one friendship podcast in the country. I'm Aaron Cairo.
I'm Matt Ritter.
And remember to go to manoftheyearpodcast.com to buy our merch and check out our episodes and clips on YouTube. So, Matt, the other day I was having drinks with a friend, a good friend, one of my best friends who shall remain anonymous. And after the first round of drinks, this friend said, I have to talk to you about something.
Uh-oh.
And then essentially, I don't want to use the word confront because that seems like it was like an adversarial conversation. Just wanted to bring up some issues that had been bothering them about our friendship and me being remiss in said friendship.
Okay.
And I was caught off guard a little bit. I tried to remember my New Year's resolution, be reflective, not reactive.
Mm-hmm.
We had a tough conversation. And then afterwards, as I was reflecting on it, I came up with this, which was good friends have hard conversations, which is ultimately, it was uncomfortable, but like a lesser friend or lesser friendship, that conversation never would have happened. And the friendship might have petered out. It would have ended. We would have had grudges against each other. And, we haven't really talked about conflict resolution or this kind of thing in a while. So I thought I'd bring it up to you and get your thoughts.
Well, I like it. First off, I like the reframe. Like, it's not always a fight, or even, I guess you can call it a confrontation, but I think confrontation has a negative tone. Like, you're addressing things.
Yep.
I assume this person had the hopes of fostering a healthier friendship, not like, let's just fight.
Oh yeah. Now now we're in rebuilding and it's great. And, to your point, it's like, you don't have those conversations with people you don't really care about.
And even the ones you do, you hardly do. Me, I'm a realist. I go, hey, I know these things are few and far between and most people don't want to do them. And we're probably not going to get you to do them. But I'm impressed that somebody actually had a conversation and cared enough about a friendship with you.
Come on.
No, I'm kidding. But I guess my question is, did you, I'm just wondering, we are podcasters about friendship. Did you see any of this coming? Do you kind of have a sense when you were being confronted, I guess, about whatever is going on with this friendship? Did you already feel like you knew this information, or is this like, oh, I didn't have this point of view. I didn't see this at all. Or do you even agree with it? I'm not to get into the nitty gritty, but like, I'm curious.
Yeah. It's tough without getting to specifics, but basically I knew there was an issue, but under just what my therapist always said, I misinterpreted or misvalued their point of view and their level of discomfort, I guess you could say.
You know what we say, your friends aren't mind readers.
Friends aren't mind readers. Exactly. So I was, thrown off by the, I guess, severity. This wasn't, going to shatter the earth, but I did know there was something afoot. And, maybe my therapist was right that I have trouble seeing other people's point of view. And I tried to just listen because, me, it's just like, it's not one of my better qualities, which is I'm not a great, receiver of Matt is laughing at me like he's been doing.
I mean, sometimes I'm just like, is this guy even listening to me on the pod, or is he just waiting to hit his punchline?
Oh man, but just that look you gave me, just it was 1986 all over again.
No. You're in a great place. I mean, you're listening to people, you're taking in their viewpoint, you're reflecting. But I was gonna say, I guess my question too is like, in your defense, how long had this been going on? I don't like, I guess I don't love when people hit you with a ton of stuff that you've been doing and they've never like addressed it before, and it feels like you're getting attacked. So I'm glad that you didn't feel that way. I'm like, sometimes I think a lot of us are like, what, and I do think like you should say something sooner. You shouldn't let it get to the point where like you have to have a great big conversation about a bunch of stuff.
this is actually something I wanted to ask you. I'm glad you brought that up. So part of, you know, again, without getting into specifics, part of it was a little bit of a drift in the friendship. So part and parcel, it's hard to have a conversation if you're not seeing one another. And I have God, for a friendship podcast. Geez, I have an ongoing issue with another buddy, which we've mentioned in a few podcasts, who hasn't sort of been showing up, and I need to have a conversation with him,
Mm,
but I haven't seen him.
right.
I haven't.
Oh, okay. So, right. So I guess that's the issue with a lot of times is that the person you want to have the conversation with isn't around, and then it keeps building and building and building. And by the time you finally see them, there's a lot of stuff built up.
I mean, but I think that's a specific thing. If like me and you had some sort of beef, I see you all the
That's what I'm
time.
saying. With closer friends, I think you're better off nipping things in the bud as opposed to let's let a nice laundry list build so I can give him a good talking to.
um,
It's like, wait,
so
hold on. I got to get a few more things before we. So I'm really burned up, So I'm really give some fuel to the fire.
yeah,
Um,
and like I like a little. It was between the first drink and the second drink.
oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. When you're going to have a bit of a confrontation, This was a drinks, right? This was a drinks or dinner.
Well, I thought you were going to say, isn't the trope that if you're breaking up with someone, you go to like a pub or firing someone, you go to
Right?
a pub?
Yeah. With Jay Moore, Jerry Maguire, that was the
Oh,
classic.
wait, did I ever tell you this is like maybe a year ago? My buddy, I could say my buddy Rob, he like had to fire someone for the first time ever, and some like financial thing, and he took him to coffee.
Mm,
I'm not exactly sure why he thought that was a good idea. So they're having coffee, and he goes, "Listen, like we got to let you go," but then they're just sitting there.
mm. So where
Like
should you do the firing? In the office.
I think you
That's
bring
why
them
you do
in.
the firing. That's why you do the firing in the office.
Yeah. Yeah. And another just side note to that, he was learning, like, obviously he didn't learn well because he went to coffee shop. His boss apparently is like a real, like, you know, asshole, for lack of a better
Mm,
word. And
mm,
he said he I said he watched him fire someone over Zoom, which it
mm.
wasn't, because it was just because people were remote. It wasn't like a thing. And he's like, he took this man's soul
Ooh, you
through
snatched it across the Zoom.
across
You
the
saw
Zoom.
the black, like in Ghost, the black thing went through the screen.
It, w-
Wait, hold
it was
on.
almost like Indiana Jones meets Ghost.
Ooh, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's do an audience poll for our audience members. Where do you think is the best place to fire somebody? Should it be in the office? Should it be at drinks? Or should it be via Zoom?
Well, firing over drinks is insane.
That's insane.
I think that's illegal.
No, I think that's why. Why was I thinking that's the cool way to do it? Like, you take them for one last drink before you kill them.
Yeah, and if they don't know it's the last drink, that's rough.
I feel like you take them out for a night.
Well, where do you do a breakup?
I don't know. The last one I did was in Club Med Turks and Caicos 20 something years ago.
While on vacation with the person? That's a tough one.
Uh,
That's a tough one. That's
yeah, no,
typical.
I don't know. No, but I want our audience to chime in if you've ever fired or been fired. Like, what is the appropriate place to do it? Also, this is what I'm asking: when you're doing the confrontation, do you wait or do you just get right to it? Like, do you have the drink? Do you have the coffee? Do you chit chat? Is there small talk, or you just go, let's cut to the chase?
Well, in this case, only one person knew that there was going to be a conversation happening. No, I also think that while I have work to do on the friendship, like it's still a very good friendship. So we actually like hung again. Typical me, I thought everything was
Yeah.
not everything was fine, but like we were, sort of past it
Did you hang
already.
out
So
afterwards? You're saying you hung out like
yeah,
everything was cool
yeah, it was
after
great. It was
the
great.
talking?
Yeah, it was great. That's why, because I kept thinking, and this is why I want to talk about. I just kept thinking, wow, I really appreciate this because like
Mm-hmm.
it's hard, it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable. They were probably fretting about it, as I would be, and like it saved potentially a friendship. I mean, this
Yeah.
is You had one of, I think, the best lines of the podcast. And it was specifically about men, but it could be about anybody. You said, people don't have falling outs; they have falling offs.
Right. Men, we don't. We don't.
And it's so true because, well,
I give women credit. I give women credit for actually a lot, generally speaking, they will do the hard work of having a confrontation if it means enough to them, whereas men just kind of blow it up,
yeah,
let it go,
yeah.
whatever. I'm not gonna tell them how I feel.
How can we, Matt? How can we encourage our listeners to have the hard conversation?
Um, well, one tip I would say again, I like you having the soft conversations earlier, so that
Hmm.
it doesn't have to lead to this big laundry list of things. I like the idea of going, hey, if you're my friend, I should be able to say these things to you in the moment or a week later before it's like building and building and building and building. But obviously, look, that's not always realistic. So um, I think we have to reframe it as it's not like a hard conversation. We're not doing something awful. We're doing something great.
Mm, okay, it's like not a challenging conversation. We're doing something great. I mean, you get somewhere great.
Yeah, like you're going to a good place. Like, hey, this is well, this is a good thing that we're doing. We're getting together and we're cleaning stuff up. We're doing some cleanup. We're doing some friendship refresh. We're doing some spring cleaning on the friendship.
What would you do if? What if you do? What would you if old Cairo was there? And old Cairo would immediately be like, "Well, I don't know what you're talking about," and you're crazy, and blah blah blah.
Right. Again, and I like what you said about you've learned to listen and see the other person's point of view. Because I think most fights, like it's not always like one person's right, one person's wrong. They just don't have mutual agreement on what happened, even because they come from different places. It has different meaning to them. Everybody's actions are received in different ways from different friends.
Yeah.
You know, like one person's compliment is another person's slight. It's just so
Hmm.
crazy. And you don't always know these things about your friends. You learn them as you go. Like when I was calling you cynical, for example,
Yeah.
like I didn't know that was bothering you. I kind of thought I was giving you a compliment because I kind of was like, oh, that's his brand, like I'm telling like I'm feeding into who he is. But then when I saw that you didn't like that, I was like, oh, let me reflect and go, okay, actually, he's not receiving this thing the right way. So then I shouldn't be doing it if it's getting that reaction from him. Like what upside is it to treat somebody in a way that like they're not enjoying as a friend?
Right. What do you think about having these conversations on the phone or via text?
I don't like text because it's very hard to convey tone,
Right.
right? I mean, there's just so much lost in the text and the email. Phone,
Do
I
you see,
think, is fine.
do you see in the new iOS now and text messages? I think you can do like italics and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh,
You
that's
won't be
good.
you won't be able to do it, so it's fine.
You'll have to be next to me when I'm doing it. Hey, Kiro, make it seem like I'm a little annoyed.
Oh man, yeah,
So
yeah.
I was gonna say, I just want to go back to like, how do we get men to be? I mean, I think it's more like, hey, it's actually really easy to keep your friendships healthy for men because I actually think there's not as much that we even get frustrated or annoyed by. I think we
As
let
men,
a lot. Yeah, I think we
right?
let a
Yeah,
lot slide.
yeah,
Just general. These are all stereotypes. They're not true for everybody. Take what works on this and not. But so I think on some level, you could say again, maybe women communicate better in some ways, but also it's harder for them because they feel like they have to have these. I feel like for men, we may not have to have a lot of these. We just need a couple of these every once in a while when things
right.
are going a little astray. So it's almost like taking your car into the shop every once in a while, every 3,000 miles
A
for
little
an
tune
oil
up, a tune up, friendship tune up.
friendship tune up. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
think
think
that's
I think
it.
I think maybe the way to do it, to your point, is have the soft conversations or the tune-ups organically within a larger hangout, which is
Yes.
not a hangout dedicated to denigration. It's like
Well, that's the thing. It's never fun when you know the hang is dedicated to your demise.
right, right, right. Yeah. But
You
if
know,
it's
I
like
did some friendship repair and we didn't do any of that.
what do you mean?
I did a friendship repair where we just hung out and didn't talk about any of the issues.
And you just think that alone.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about that.
Okay.
Sometimes a friendship repair just requires a hang and remembering why you like that person and remembering how you feel about them. Do you agree with that?
Okay, so let me sort of reword that. Sometimes the smaller slights, we call them, you
Mhm.
realize bringing it up is not specific thing is not really going to do much. If you realize their heart was in the good place, let it slide. We're good. If it happens again, whatever. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. But even when you have bigger issues, I think sometimes just seeing the person and hanging out with them without addressing it first, just let yourself settle into the good groove that you have and the good feelings. And maybe that first hang isn't even the time to address it yet. Like, I don't know. So maybe there's something about getting back to neutral in a friendship before the I'm just offering a somewhat hot take as opposed to like I hear what your friend did for you. Sometimes the timing isn't there for that. Like, because you're hot and bothered and maybe the other person's too defensive. Like maybe the better move, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but maybe the better move is like maybe we just need to hang out again first, like friends again.
Yeah, I think that's right. Also, then it gives you an opportunity. Like, does this other person even recognize anything
Right.
wrong? They probably don't, or maybe they don't,
Right.
or maybe they bring it up.
Yeah.
So, I think
How did they propose this hang? Did was it like known that you were going to be
I,
talked
I,
down to and undressed?
I proposed it. I walked into my own
Oh my
execution.
God.
Yeah.
You go, hey, this noose looks nice. Can you get me up there?
Yeah. I was like, where's their firing squad?
Yeah.
Um, no, it was great. I'm actually, again, I think it's actually one of um, the best things a friend has done for me in a while.
Well, that's great. That's great. That's awesome. I mean, honestly, I'm like excited to hear that, hey, we're doing the things that we preach.
Yeah. 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 I was like, uh, and then they were like, don't talk about it in the pod. I'm like, well, I'm going to talk about it vaguely because it's too good because we got to
Of
pass it along.
course. How can we
Got
not talk about what's going on in our own friendship lives? I would feel like a fraud if we said, oh, our friendships are all perfect and we've sorted everything out.
should we take a listener question?
Let's do it.
We'll be right back. All right, guys, this is Asking for a Friend. If you have a friendship question or ethical dilemma, send it to us on Instagram, Man of the Year Podcast, and we will answer it on the show. Okay, Matt, we got a good one as usual. Dear Matt and Cairo, love the pod. I've got a doozy for your
Mm,
Asking for a Friend segment.
I'll
My
decide if it's a doozy.
My best friend has officially fallen down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories. Now, don't get me wrong, I love that she questions everything, but lately her beliefs are less, quote, healthy skepticism and more, quote, lizards run the government. We've gone from debating politics to arguing about whether the earth is flat. Yes, you read that right. Please help. How can I have a chill conversation about the importance of checking your sources without making her feel like a total nut or driving her further down the hole?
Woo! Conspiracy theorists. Not my
Now,
favorite people.
I thought this would be good for you, Matt, because you have in the past you've had some interesting takes on this. That it's sort of less about the conspiracy; it's more like a personality sort
Yeah.
of basis.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of anti-authoritarian or just like uh, people who want to not, go with the flow. Like it's I agree. I don't think it's about any specific conspiracy usually. There's many reasons I could get into personally where I just am not a fan of conspiracy theorists. Number one is that it feels like it always end up like somehow they end up in some anti-Semitism rabbit hole. Feels
Right.
like every behind every anti-Semitic conspiracy is the Rothschilds, right? They
Yeah.
invented the lizard people, they faked the moon landing, they smushed the earth down into a flat pancake. Um, Here's the thing. 2024, do you know anybody who doesn't have a friend or a family member that isn't dabbling in
Mhm.
conspiracy theory? I don't.
I don't
Do
either.
you?
No.
It's almost impossible to avoid. So to say, hey, let's just cut off anybody who engages in any conspiracy theory, friendship wise, I don't know. Like you could do it, sure. But maybe there's a way to kind of keep these people in the fold that's better for society. I just want to make like a PSA. If we
Mhm.
cut every person who dabbles in conspiracy theory out of our lives completely, I'm not sure that's going to work for society as a whole.
Well, to be fair, I don't think she suggested that. She wants to have a conversation with the
No,
person.
I'm doing a
Okay. Got
PSA.
it.
I think a lot of us
Got
think like, how do we deal with these people?
it.
And the
Got it.
first thing, your instinct is just be like, wash my hands of you crazy.
So my first instinct was to utilize, my most effective tool, which is Cairo style, y- you know, um, jabs,
Mhm.
sarcastic jabs. Like we're going on a trip together. Oh, don't listen to Google Maps. Jimmy's got a whole, he's got Google Flat
Right,
Maps.
right, right.
And just
I'm a
that
big
could
fan of mocking. Of
mocking.
conspiracy
Mocking is
theories.
a
No,
yes.
I do. I think mocking is a really good way to disarm conspiracy theorists if you don't do it in a way that's like nasty and like
Yeah,
angry. I think that's the best disarming way because I actually think a lot of conspiracy theorists are just like trolls.
they don't even believe
And
it.
they don't believe it and they're
Yeah.
just trying to get a rise out of you. Or as I said, they always just want to go against the grain. And I think if you get angry, you're giving them exactly what they want.
Yeah, the other thing I will do is I will not engage.
Right.
Like if I just won't I'm like, I'll say, not discussing this, move
Yeah.
on, ignore it, don't respond to the text, and just not even because that's what they want.
Right. Right. But I also think for the flat earther, why don't you just go sit at 6 a.m., 5:45, take them somewhere where the sun is setting, watch the sunset, then drive really fast and watch the sunset again and blow their freaking mind.
I thought you were gonna say go somewhere where you could see the curvature because I
Well,
don't
you could
think that
also do that. Go somewhere up high,
yeah.
see the curvature of the earth, run any number of anti flat earth observations, and embarrass them.
Well, what is with the flat earthers? Do they really believe it?
I think a few of them do. I think what happens is you can find anything to back up your theory now. Like there's enough of this stuff on Reddit or whatever. And
Right.
all you have to do is not read any of the other stuff that debunks it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes when I am reading something or on TikTok or something, and I'm reading or seeing a clip or news article that supports my view, I think to myself, there's probably 1,000 clips that support the other view that are
That's what I'm
equally.
saying. There are now. So
Yeah.
we're running into a problem where everybody has their own universe of truths. But in general, I love these people who are like, I'm just asking questions. I'm like, we already figured out most of the stuff. Like we don't need you to debunk whether the sky is blue.
Yeah. But how do listen, 50, maybe 75 years ago, they didn't know what germs were. So it's
No,
like
I
things
know.
do,
I know. I
you
know.
know,
But to what end? That's the other part. It's like, what are you going for here?
right.
And a lot of
Yeah.
it is, I think people are unhappy with their lives and looking for somebody to blame for it. That's the part
Are
of
there any,
conspiracy theories that I don't like.
what do you think there was a conspiracy to kill JFK?
I mean, that one is a tough one. I've read quite a few books. Obviously, we all saw JFK, which was like the ultimate conspiracy theorist wet dream,
Yeah.
Oliver Stone's movie. I honestly don't know what I think because I'm not. Here's my thing about conspiracy theory. I don't care. Like,
Mm.
if it doesn't affect my life, I really don't care. I have too many things that affect my life that I'm spending time on. The
Is
fact
it
that
that
you are
you have a kid?
that's one of many things. But the fact that you're spending so much time on conspiracy theory tells me like you're probably not really living your best life.
But they don't think it's a conspiracy theory. They think it's the truth.
But
So,
just the fact that you're driven so far down this rabbit hole, it's like maybe you should focus a little bit more on that business you were trying to come up with.
by the way, side note, how good a movie is JFK?
It's a great movie. I mean, Joe Pesci, amazing.
Yeah.
Do you believe that it was a conspiracy? Wow, we're going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, we're going the rabbit hole. Whew.
Who do you think killed him? Lyndon Johnson? The mafia? The Mossad? Goes
I
on
don't
and on the list.
it seems I don't know. It seems like there's more than just Oswald, one guy pulled off the
Yeah,
greatest.
I mean, yeah. It does seem that way. There are a lot of weird dies, and the fact that he got killed immediately after,
Right.
you know,
Right.
definitely
Yeah.
some odd. What about RFK? Some people even think that one was a conspiracy. A Palestinian shot him at right here at the Ambassador Hotel because of
Yeah.
his support for Israel. By the way, not to get political, but people say that one was a conspiracy theory too. I'm like, there were 100 people. He shot him at close range.
I mean, by the way, unless you personally saw something, nobody believes anything.
No, I know. Well, that's the crazy thing. Like Sirhan is still alive. You could probably go ask him.
Didn't he get released from prison? Or
No,
no?
he
That's Hinckley.
Newsom vetoed the release.
No, it's Hinckley who got released.
Yeah, Hinckley got released. What about the moon landing?
The moon landing happened.
Right. So that one is, I think, the one that like a lot of people latch onto because they're like, well, we've never been back. I agree that
What do
that
you mean we've never
is
been back?
we've never been back. Another person has never set foot on the moon since 1969.
Well, yes. What do you mean? There's been like 20 people on the moon. That's in 73.
73.
Yeah.
73.
Okay. We went back like 6 times.
Yeah, but since 73.
Yes,
Say
that is true. Okay, that's true.
that is odd that it's 650
Yeah.
whatever.
By the way, I always think we should be putting it. That would be such a great national moment. Why aren't we doing it?
Well, that's what's feeding into conspiracy theories. Like, why
Right.
haven't we done it?
Yeah. Ah, damn it.
And now
Stop
there's a
turning.
movie coming out where they're pretending it's a soundstage.
Right. I don't know.
I love people who don't understand that cameras, like even back then, could be protected. Like people don't believe that the nuclear like test actually happened because like there's footage on a little camera from
Yeah.
Los Alamos, and like somebody, these people who go on Rogan, they're like, "There's no way that camera would have survived."
I don't know. I don't know. So,
So in answer to the question, no, I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I mean, I do think there are things that are sketchy that turn out later to be not true, but for the most part, I don't spend any energy thinking about it.
so I think our answer to the question is one, some gentle mocking. Two, don't engage. And interesting enough, the one thing we have not suggested, which I think is correct, is try to convince them.
It's not going to work. Although, as I said, no, I do think you should try to convince them by driving from the sunset at the top of a hill and literally driving down quicker than the sunset, catching it at another spot.
I'm not sure Matt knows how the sun works, so I don't know.
No, I'm not sure you understand. That's the most, I actually think you're such a simpleton that you don't understand what I'm saying.
Look at Matt going from 4 to 10 right away. Call me a
Well,
simple.
no, because I literally don't think you understand what I'm saying.
I understand. I'm just saying a person who thinks the earth is flat is not going to think that.
No, but that's the
I
easiest
understand.
physically observable. I don't think you do.
I'm enraged right now. Absolutely enraged. After this whole episode about like connect with your friends. This is, oh my God. Okay. Guys, that was asking for a friend. If you have a friendship question or ethical dilemma, send it to us on Instagram. We will answer it on the show. Okay, Matt, what did we learn today?
Well, I'd like to think that we learned it's actually healthy to address issues in a friendship if you care.
Yeah, and that was my main thrust. Good friends have hard conversations. I really felt, obviously in the moment, you're kind of like, whoa, what's going on? But I really felt afterwards a full heart of like, that was a tough thing to do. People don't do that with people they don't care about.
Yep.
And, it's just really given me a lot of food for thought. So thank you, Anonymous.
There's nothing on the flip side is there is nothing worse than when you think you're just getting a hangout drinks and then you get it. I've told you how Jessie does it to me, right? Like anytime I think we're just
She taps the bed.
She'll tap, yeah, like a chair. She'll have a seat. Anytime I have to sit,
And
I don't want to. Can I stand? She goes, no, have a seat.
How often of those times do you know what she's going to say?
Always. I know when a talking to is coming.
I'm going to ask you a very.
I do.
I'd ask you a very dumb question. Have you ever done it to her?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Okay.
A somewhat recent, very simple thing of like, I just want us to be on the same page about parenting stuff.
Did you tap?
Tap the bed.
You said have a seat?
Come have a seat.
Did you say that?
No.
No, how dare you? You could never do that.
How dare I can't do that. That's her thing.
Oh,
can't
man.
usurp.
All right, guys, that's our show. Thank you so much for listening. Always remember, be good to yourself, be good to your friends. Love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy.